Oh, season finale's over? Huh, okay. Yeah, ooh, exciting. What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is NCIS Season 21, Episode 9, Prime Cut. So this one was probably one of the most cliche episodes I've ever seen. As soon as they said they were heading to a small town in Texas, all I could think is, I wonder how many of these cliches we're going to get. Jess shows up in the cowboy hat. I'm like, all right, there's one. They go to a hotel. The sheriff runs the hotel. That's two. They show up at this giant ranch house. This guy who owns it is super rich, super powerful in the town. That's three. He shows up by shooting a rattlesnake in the grass. That's four. He has his ranch hands doing all these menial tasks. They actually have him sit down as if he's about to get a shave on the porch. I don't know if that's a cliche, but it feels like it is. And he doesn't even get the shave. He's just like, oh, actually, I have this meeting I need to get to. Well, why are you about to get a shave then? You have the moment where Torres and Knight are searching the ranch, and Torres happens upon this cute little ranch hand who's having trouble with a horse, and of course he comes in and he's soothing the horse. He's all good with the horse and everything. You have the owner of the ranch compare himself to a bull, saying that if you want to take the bull down, you better take it down in one shot or else it'll kill you. It ends with a horse chase scene, and Torres is of course the one to make the chase. There's just so much about this that all I can think is this is so freaking cliche, and they just went with it. Now granted, I think I've only been to Texas one time. I do have some family that lives in Texas, so who knows, maybe there are a ton of small towns in Texas that are very much like this, but I've just seen this done so many times that I'm sick of it. I'm burnt out on this type of setup. Hell, I remember a Leverage episode that was set up very much like this. But then on top of that, you also have some of your NCIS cliches. Like, honestly, I was about to be surprised. I really did think for a second that it was going to be the owner of the ranch. They set it up the way he was talking to Torres and Knight. They really set it up like he was responsible. They just needed to find the proof to take him down. And that was going to be a welcome surprise. They almost never have it be the guy who seems like he's the bad guy. It would be sort of a plot twist for an NCIS episode. Because most of the time, it's somebody you don't really suspect. It's somebody who gets one scene, and we don't really talk to them again until the end of the episode when they're getting arrested. Kind of like the cute little ranch hand. Oh, look, it's her. Like that sudden twist just came out of nowhere. They find out apparently there's been some smuggled drugs in some of the cattle in these butcher shops that the guy owns, and the ranch hand is the one responsible for it. And she gives herself up in the most cliche way possible, where they just tell her that her buddy in DC gave her up, and she responds with, it's my word versus those two guys. What do they say, two guys? Like, are criminals really this dumb in real life? How often does this happen? Because as much as it happens in TV shows, they would lead you to believe that criminals always do this. That every single time the cops just have to say, yeah, we think you might have killed this guy. What? I didn't shoot him. We never said he was shot. I guarantee it doesn't happen this much in real life. Also, I almost missed the one cliche where the son of the ranch owner is gay. And so, of course, he's been hiding that with the guy who died. Because, oh, nobody here understands. It is... Hang on, let me check. Yeah, 2024 when that came out. I really don't think that people have that much of an issue. If anything, the dad might be surprised and be like, why did you feel the need to hide it from me? I'm sure the response would be, well, it's a southern guy. We know how them southern people are. It's just such a cliche. But then you've also got the stuff with McGee and Delilah, which at first did feel different. And I was actually kind of enjoying it because they set up this like it's going to be drama. Delilah wants to do a remodel of the kitchen. Tim's not so sure about it. You even got Parker telling McGee that it's something that broke him and one of his ex-wives up. And so it's just set up like it's going to be this big drama thing. They bring in this one lady to do like a reality show remodel. But then they sort of flip it on its head because the producer of the show wants them to be more dysfunctional. She wants them to argue because that makes for better reality TV, which is sad, but very true. But they just aren't. They are typically in agreement with each other. And so it's actually kind of a cute, funny little moment between the two of them. But the problem is it ends in a very cliche way for NCIS, which is it doesn't go anywhere. The remodel doesn't happen. I mean, how many times does this happen in the show? I remember there's one time McGee was supposed to be on this trivia show. He doesn't go on the show. Earlier this season, there was this whole debate about whether or not Tim was going to shave his goatee. He doesn't shave his goatee. They just bring up all these stories, these side stories with these characters that just don't go anywhere. They just end up dying by the end of it, and they're like, oh, actually, you know what? We're just not going to do anything about it. We're just not going to remodel the kitchen, even though it's clear that things need to be fixed. You get drawers that are falling apart, but sure, you know, just... we're not going to remodel because, oh, I mean, look at all the little scratches and notches and stuff from when our kids were growing up. Oh, yeah, we don't want to get rid of that, so we're going to let everything stay broken and messy. Just leave that part of it then. Leave the sentimental stuff, but you could still replace the other stuff that needs to be replaced, the stuff that is broken. You don't have to do a full remodel, but that doesn't mean you can't fix some of the problems. It feels lazy, not just from the character's point of view. It feels lazy from the writers. Like, they don't really know how to wrap it up. So they just go, and they decided not to do the remodel. All in all, this was a very cliche episode, and I'm kind of sick of the cliche episodes, if I'm being perfectly honest. I mean, heck, I didn't even talk about it, but the end of the Alien episode ended in exactly the way that every single episode involving religion or aliens or anything that we don't know for sure about, all of them always end with somebody going, well, but what if it was? What if it was something supernatural? What if there was ghosts? What if there was aliens? What if it was God? They're always ending in that same way because they don't want to explain everything. They want to leave it up to the audience to be like, oh, but what if? I know complaining about cliches in season 21 of a show, I shouldn't be too surprised. But man, as many as there were in this one episode, I had to express my frustration because it was just so much. I was just sitting here seething through most of the episode like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing all of this. But anyways, we move on to the season finale. I'll see you guys there. And finally, episode 10, Reef Madness. This was a season finale? I mean, we've had some season finales where they face off against international terrorists. They go up against huge criminal organizations. And then you got this one where they just go up against a really goofy uncle and niece that killed the niece's husband and his lover, and then a random homeless guy, and then dumped him on a boat, and then happened to lock Knight and Parker in the boat. And then Parker hurts himself because he goofily trips over a piece of wood that then knocks this piece of equipment on top of him that breaks his leg. And this is what we're going with. This is the season finale, eh? Yeah, so long story short, this was not season finale worthy. The story itself is definitely not what you want to be ending a season on. The only real season finale feels about it was the fact that Parker could die, and we did get a little bit more about his story, but still not much. We just see this girl named Lily, which I don't know if he's being serious with Knight at the end, that he doesn't know what she's talking about. Like maybe it's a part of his brain that he blocked out that only came back whenever he was on death's door, basically. So we learned maybe a little bit more about him, but still not really much. And then Knight gets offered this job, which she had the opportunity to take a job that would remove her from the team earlier this season, but she didn't take that one, just so she could take this one at the end of the season. Woo. It just makes no sense. Not only is this not an exciting finale to witness, but it completely reverses a previous story decision from earlier this season. So what's the point of all of this? And especially because Knight and Jimmy, like I've never really been that interested in this whole relationship, but now here we are and it's just coming to an end, I guess, because she decided to take the job. And he basically told her, like, if you're going to take the job, that must mean we're done. It just sort of comes out of nowhere. We've not really seen them bickering at all. Not seen them have this issue. Yeah, they had a little bit whenever she was hiding the fact that she was dating Jimmy from her dad, but then that got resolved at the end of that episode. And so now for this whole argument to come out of nowhere, and then for the episode to end with her taking the job and basically leaving the team, which I will say, I mean, she's still on some of the pictures. So I'm guessing she's not off the team somehow. I don't know if they're going to go back on this decision. Maybe they got so many angry fan emails or something that the following season, like, all right, we're gonna bring Knight back onto the show. We're gonna keep her and Jimmy together because so many fans hated this. But it just doesn't make any sense. And on top of that, you got the random inclusion of the Sammy guy that are apparently trying to frame for some reason. He was really over the top with a lot of his moments. And speaking of over the top, I guess I should talk about the very first part of this episode whenever the guy from the news finds the bodies on the ship. And this guy was straight out of a Dora the Explorer cartoon. Like, his acting was so over the top. It was ridiculous. And first of all, you got him with the microphone. Like, most of the time, you're holding the microphone, sitting there talking, and then over here to get the answer. He was sitting there talking. Like, who does that? On top of that, he goes and bends down next to the Semtex as if he doesn't recognize what a bomb looks like. And then when the guy who's blowing up the ship tells him, that's when he backs away and he's just like, oh, I can't believe there's bombs on here and the ship that you are about to blow up and sink. Why are there bombs here? But also for the guy who owns the ship, why would you not say, hey, you might want to back up? Those are explosives. So that was really goofy. And then they've got the bodies in the corner. The owner of the ship, his huge overreaction to seeing the bodies. Like he sees it and it's supposed to be like a kind of moment. He does like a triple take. It's like a full body shudder just seeing the bodies. And then the cameraman looks at the camera. What the? And then it cuts to the thing. It was so overdone. Like I said, straight out of a child's cartoon is what it felt like. So yeah, all in all, I mean, it was not a good episode. Occasionally it was so bad it was kind of funny, but for the most part, it's just very odd to end on this note. Like, again, the only thing that felt like it was a proper season finale is the fact that Parker's life was in danger. But even then, that was basically an accident. The guy just happened to go back for his watch as they were getting there, and he just locks both doors somehow. I don't know. It was really dumb overall. So yeah, that'll do it for season 10. I'm kind of glad it was shorter. I'm pretty sure season 22 has a normal number of episodes, so get back to that next time. But honestly, I'm kind of glad this one only had 10 episodes because you just sort of get through it quickly. I don't have to suffer that much, which was nice. Because yeah, this show, I mean, I've talked about it before, but it feels like they're just out of ideas. And yet it's still going somehow. I don't know how, but they're just still chugging along as if, yeah, we've still got new ideas to tell, and most of them are ideas that have been done to death. Honestly, I kind of want somebody, I don't think anybody would do this because who has the time or the care to do this, but I would be curious to know how many of these stories are basically repeats of other stories. How many times is the killer's motive the exact same that we've seen like 10 times? How many times is it a fit of passion? How many times is it just an accident that they don't want to get in trouble so they hide the body? How many times does it involve drug smuggling? I want to know how many times they've done it because I feel like a lot of these have been done probably close to 50 times each, but they're still going, and as long as they're still going, I guess I'll keep talking about it because been doing it for this long. I don't see any reason to stop now. It gives me some extra content to put out. And sometimes I get something really funny to talk about if something really stupid happens, so there is that. But yeah, that'll do it for me. So with all that being said, cue the outro. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that review. I hope you enjoyed it. First and foremost, please leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I love having discussions with people, so whatever your thoughts were, whether you agree or disagree with me, please leave them down below. Obviously, no spoilers. Also, if you did find yourself enjoying this review and you want to see more, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out. I also have a gaming channel as well as a channel where I talk about soccer, so if you want to give those a follow as well, that would be much appreciated. And lastly, if you want to help me improve upon the quality of these channels, I do have a Patreon. All of this is in the description below. With all that being said, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to y'all later. Peace out.